Okay, so get this. A nuclear power plant, silent for decades, is roaring back to life, and the reason? To feed the massive energy demands of, get this, artificial intelligence. You read that right? You sent over some really fascinating articles about 3 Mile Island, Microsoft, and this whole AI energy craze. So let's dive in and unpack how this all connects.
Yeah, what's really captivating about this whole story is that it reveals the sheer scale of what we're talking about.
Right.
Constellation Energy Corp is pouring $1.6 billion, yes, billion with a B, into reviving this section of 3 Mile Island.
Yeah.
And to my knowledge, this is the first time in the U.S. that a closed nuclear reactor is getting a second act.
Wow, you don't see $1.6 billion in first time ever thrown around unless something huge is happening. I mean, it makes you wonder, why nuclear power? What makes it the right fit for this whole AI boom?
Well, AI has this insatiable appetite for energy, right? It operates 24/7. Nuclear power plants are also operational around the clock, offering a level of reliability that's honestly really hard to match with other sources. And of course, in a world that's increasingly focused on reducing carbon emissions, nuclear power stands out as this carbon-free source of energy.
And it's not just keeping the lights on either. This deal between Microsoft and Constellation is massive. We're talking a 20-year agreement where Microsoft is essentially buying up all the energy this revamped 3 Mile Island plant can produce. I mean, they're calling it groundbreaking, and for good reason. It really highlights their commitment to this whole thing.
And this is where things get really interesting. Microsoft's move is just one example of a much bigger trend. Big tech across the board is going all in on AI. What's fascinating is that these AI models are like digital mega cities. They're constantly buzzing with activity. They require massive data centers, often the size of several football fields. And these centers are running 24/7 to process information. And that takes an immense amount of energy.
So it's not just Microsoft then?
Exactly. We're talking Google, Amazon, Meta, Apple, all the really big players are in on this. And they're all grappling with the same challenge, which is how to power their AI ambitions sustainably and reliably.
Which makes you think, where is all this energy going to come from? Are we going to see more nuclear plants resurrected to power our AI-driven future?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Goldman Sachs predicts tech's energy demand could skyrocket by a staggering 160% by 2030. That's a significant jump, and it means we'll need a mix of solutions to meet that demand. Nuclear power is certainly an option, but it's not the only one.
160% by 2030, that's a lot. And, it makes you wonder, what are the implications of all this? I mean, It's one thing to talk about mega corporations and their big energy deals, but how does this impact, the average person?
Right. That's the crucial question. This isn't just about keeping the servers humming. It's about the future of energy and its connection to, everything. So first, I think, get ready for increased demand, across all energy sources. Renewables like solar and wind will definitely be part of the equation, but there might also be more reliance on fossil fuels in the short term, which obviously has, environmental ramifications.
Yeah, it's like we're trying to power a rocket ship to the future, but we're still figuring out the fuel situation.
Exactly. And that brings us to, I think, the second kind of implication here, like a renewed debate about the trade-offs between different energy sources. Do we prioritize the reliability and consistency of nuclear power, even with the risks that come with it? Or do we double down on renewables, even if they're not as predictable? These are complex questions with, honestly, no easy answers.
Yeah, and probably a debate we'll be having for a while. Given everything we've discussed reading through these articles, I couldn't shake off this feeling that we're on the cusp of something huge, something that will reshape not just the tech landscape, but our entire world.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And that brings us to, I think, the third and perhaps most crucial implication, which is innovation. If we're going to power this AI-driven future without breaking the grid or the planet, we need serious innovation in energy storage and efficiency. We're going to need smarter grids, better batteries, and perhaps even entirely new ways of generating and distributing energy.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener, who might be wondering why this whole nuclear-powered AI saga even matters? It means that the future of energy is deeply intertwined with the future of technology, right? It means that the choices we make about the tech we use, the companies we support, even how much energy we consume in our daily lives, these choices have a ripple effect on a global scale. And it means that we're living in a time of, profound change and opportunity. As AI continues to evolve, keep an eye out not just for the breakthroughs themselves, but for how they're powered and what it means for our energy future. Because what initially seemed like a simple story about a power plant is actually a peek into a much larger and more complex narrative, one that's still being written